Uh, Recording started.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rita Crompton, host of Invent America, and we have one of our guests on today. Suchita was on the radio with us last week, and she is an inventor going through and learning the process. So please introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, what grade you're in, and explain to us a little bit about what you've been working on.
Yeah, so my name is Suchita Srinivasan, and I'm a rising sophomore at Cheshire, Connecticut. And over the last few years, I've really been like learning how to program, learning like the inventing process, identifying a problem and a solution. This year, the invention I created was a domestic violence alerting device, which is comprised of a mobile device and a mobile application and a hardware device.
Excellent. And we see a lot of those. Sometimes people come to me and say, well, I've got a new app. And apps are really hard to get to market. And part of it is because by the time the inventor's gone through the steps, it's really obsolete. And because technology changes so fast. The ones that we see that are more successful are the ones, like you said, they've got a piece of hardware, all right, and a piece of functioning software. And when you marry them together, they make now a viable consumer product. I think one of the easy ones is the doorbell. All
Yeah.
right, where now it's got an app that goes with it, and you can see it from your phone if someone rings your doorbell, who's standing there. And years ago, my daughter was in a competition at school, and she, was working on the doorbell, and one of her ones is like, we're around back, come back around, and another one so you could program it to do whatever you want. And one we had the dog barking and said, if you're a robber, go ahead, give it your best shot. The dog loves fresh meat. And so it made us all laugh, and she did really well. So the learning process is a very important process. So this project that you're working on, how many have you done before this?
Yeah, so for this current project, I've been working on it for 2 years. But prior to that, I started my inventing process, and I believe it was sixth grade. Yes, so sixth grade, I started my inventing process. And every year after that, I've been either creating new inventions or kind of working on the previous ones that I made. So yeah, it's been a few years now.
All right. And we can't, disclose a lot about what you're working on right now because you haven't decided whether or not you're going to move forward on that. But tell us tell our listeners and other students what you have learned about the inventing process. How do you do your research, that type of thing?
I think in the beginning, I kind of just thought that like inventing was you solve a problem and then that's all it is. So what I would do in the beginning, I would be like, okay, so there's this problem, and then I would just jump right in and like create something. But over the years, I've kind of realized that, there's a lot more steps to that. It's a bit more complex. You have to research into the problem. What are the different parts of it? What's already been done? What can you do to enhance on what's already been done? So I think over the years, I've definitely improved on the skills of, identifying what's there, what's available in the market, and kind of seeing how your product can stand out. So that's definitely been something I've been working on.
Good for you. I know one of the things that we help inventors understand is the scope of prior art. And
Yeah.
that's what we look at. And so, what's been done before, it's like, well, it's not in the marketplace. Well, it doesn't mean that someone didn't try to file a patent. That
Mhm.
makes it prior art.
Yeah.
And if it's been done anywhere in the world at any time in history, you, the inventor, need to know about it so you can, make it better.
Yeah.
And, I had a gentleman a couple of weeks ago say, well, I can't file a patent on it because I'm using things that you buy in the store to make it. It's like, whoever told you that? And he goes, well, I talked to an attorney. It's like, find a different attorney because we get inventors that do that kind of thing all the time and their patents issue. You're
Yeah.
making something new out of what's already out there.
Yeah, that's actually really important. I remember I had a conversation about my mom as well. And I was kind of like, when I was younger, I felt so guilty. I was like, I can't be taking what's already there. Like, I'm not allowed to. And my mom was like, well, that's how this world works. You take the simple and you just kind of keep on building on top of that. So that's really part of the process.
It is. It very much is. We always look at, you're making a better widget, you're making a better gadget for people to use. And one of the examples I like to use is a flashlight is the light coming out of the end of a stick. And if you go to the store, you could look at 20 different flashlights, different sizes. They've got different things attached to them. Some of them are still patent pending. There's
Yeah.
still a light coming out of the end of the stick.
Yeah.
But the guy that did the one that wraps around the pole,
Hmm.
game changer. That's the new one. Still a light coming out of the end of the stick, but now
Exactly.
instead of holding it in your mouth so you can use both hands, you can wrap it around a pole. So,
Exactly.
I always thought that that was, a good example of the better widget, the better gadget. But he still went and bought stuff right off the store shelf to make his
Mhm.
first prototypes.
Yeah.
And so I get a lot of inventors that have got a better way of doing something, and we all learn from that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So this one that you've got though is, where it will improve quality of life. It will save lives.
Yes.
Um, is a big deal, and I wish you all kinds of luck with that. So if you do get to the point where you decide to go patent pending, and can then tell our listeners what it is that you've actually accomplished, kudos to you, because that's a big deal when you actually get to the point where you can save lives with, something that is fairly simple.
Exactly.
It's going to go and it will acknowledge then what's happening in the environment around the victim
Mhm.
and send out basically an SOS.
Yes. Yeah, that's really important. I think domestic violence is a problem that a lot of people see out there. Like we're all kind of aware of it, especially during the pandemic when everyone was kind of in their own homes, and especially for people and for victims, it's more likely statistically it will show that like 25% more cases occurred during the pandemic. So it's just really important that there's like some sort of way for these victims to get help. And I think if I eventually do get this out and patent it, that would be amazing and that would help a lot of lives.
So, and we'll be excited to hear what your next invention is as well. So, thank you so much for being with us today. We
Yeah.
look forward to hearing more from you. And congratulations on getting this far and the learning process.
Thank you so much. Thank you.